Hey friends, welcome back. And welcome back to another reading vlog. This one is very exciting for a few reasons, okay? You've seen the title of the video, you've seen the thumbnail, you think you know what you're getting. Actually, you might know exactly what you're getting. I don't know what the title or thumbnail looks like yet. But listen, Sammy needs to tell you that this video will be worth your while because I'm really excited about it. We, friends, are going to be reading the Hunger Games series. Yes, we are. Because listen, this came out, the very first book, The Hunger Games came out circa 2008. And what a time to be a small person reading this book for the first time, ignoring everything else that was going on. And now a bigger person rereading it again for the second time. It has already been, these first 33 pages, emotional. It has been emotional being back in this world, but let me tell you why this is actually so exciting for me. Like, yes, I am excited to be rereading this. This was a snap decision, by the way. I was not planning on doing this video. Everything has been thrown out the window. Very spur of the moment decision to finally finish this series for the first time in my life. Yes, I have never finished the trilogy. I have no idea what happens in Mockingjay. I have literally no clue where this story goes. I honestly don't even know if I finished Catching Fire, the second book. I don't know. It was so long ago, and my ADHD has always manifested in very strange ways. Even though I was loving these books, like, I know for a fact that I love the first book, and I know that I was having a good time reading the second one, but I didn't finish it, nor did I continue the series. I don't know what to tell you. So that being said, welcome to the vlog. We're reading all three of these, as well as The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, because obviously I haven't read that either. If I haven't even finished this trilogy, how would I have read the others? And the fifth book is coming out in a few days, actually. Sunrise on the Reaping. Yeah, that'll probably be included too. So buckle up, friends, because I know I am locked and loaded, ready to binge the series. I honestly haven't binged a series in so long. Like, I'm really excited, and I'm so excited to have you along for the ride. It is Friday. I plan on reading as much as physically possible this weekend because I am hosting a readathon over in my Patreon, which I had a TBR for, and I am throwing out the window for these. We're all very excited. Right now, it is noon. I have been editing Sunday's video. It is a Sunday release radar video. It is much longer than normal because there are a lot of books coming out this spring, and it is so tedious to edit those because I have to put, you know, book covers up on the screen, do little animations to make them leave the screen because I can't just let them pop in and pop out. I can't do that. Emotionally, I can't do that. I put in work for you guys, okay? But those videos take much longer to edit. So I've been doing that this morning. I actually really want to go for a quick run before it gets too hot, which is crazy. It's gonna be 77 today. Absolutely unheard of. But I want to go for a quick run before it gets too hot. Then I think I will sit on the porch with Avi and finish editing and get some pages in as well. I do also know that I'm going to be reading more later tonight because I'm hosting live reading sprints with my Patreon at 5 p.m. But we have officially begun this reread, and I'm more excited than I thought I would be. Reading it with like an adult brain and an adult set of eyes, I think is going to be even more rewarding than when I first read it as a child. So let's get it going. I'll come back later and update you, but welcome to the vlog. I'm so excited to have you here. Let's go. Okay, hi. I grabbed my little mic because it's so windy out here. I am really hoping that this is good enough and that you can actually hear me. This is crazy. This is stupid. I mean, it's like really beautiful outside, but it is insanely windy. I mean, I have an update for you. I did run my 2 miles and it went really well. Every single time I've gone for a run, which has been like 4 or 5 times, I've been a little bit faster every time. So, you know, progress is progress. I am excited about it. I've only ran 2 miles. I don't know if I plan on doing much more soon. I think like if I feel like I could do more during a run, I could run more, but I'm also just typically predominantly using it just for cardio. Like, I'm not trying to like be a professional runner This wind is absolutely insane. What is happening? I'm gonna check to make sure that you can actually even hear me okay, because, one second. Okay, so I do think you can hear me okay. I do think that I look a little bit unhinged though. Like, what is happening? I just made a little dirty chai. Look at this adorable glass. I also, you don't even understand how excited I am. I got a blue one, so instead of the white, they're blue little glass design, and they're clouds. They're clouds. If you've been here for longer than 2 minutes, then you know that I love clouds. But with this drink, I thought it would look cuter in the sun cup, so that's what we did. I am officially like 88 pages into the Hunger Games, and I need you to understand that I've cried like multiple times. What do you mean? I honestly don't even know exactly what to tell you, like why I'm crying. I don't know if it's nostalgia, or I don't know if it is purely just like me putting myself in Katniss's shoes and like this whole situation and how much I know now compared to when I first read it, which is like I knew nothing about anything when I first read this book. And now it's so interesting reading it from an adult perspective and like seeing everything that Suzanne Collins is doing within this world and with these characters. As of right now, I don't think that I'm gonna do like full spoilery things, but that might change. For now, you're safe. This is also a book from 2008. This is a series that I think a lot of people have read. I won't like overtly spoil big plot twists or the ending or things like that, but yeah, I'll let you know well in advance before if I do think that I'm going to talk about something spoilery, so don't stress. So the premise of the Hunger Games, if you don't happen to know, it is a situation where the government puts on a yearly game called the Hunger Games. The world has 12 districts. There used to be 13. Each district provides something for the capital, the rich government, whatever. Main character Katniss is from District 12. There used to be 13 districts, and that is something that we learn about much later. I honestly don't even know if I remember entirely what happened to it. I mean, I know it got like destroyed, you know, I think from the government, from the capital. But that's purely speculation. I'm also sitting on the corner of my house, and there are so many people driving by, and I am getting so many looks. I truly don't think that I care anymore. I'm really trying to not care anymore because I know that if I saw someone vlogging, I'd be like, hell yeah, girl, you get it. And I'm just going to choose to believe that that is what other people are saying as well. And if they're not, then I don't want to interact with them anyways. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, yeah, no, I've cried multiple times. In the very beginning, I think it's in the synopsis, Katniss's younger sister, 12-year-old Prim. Her name gets drawn out of thousands and thousands of names to go into the Hunger Games because every district has to put up 2 tributes every single year to go into this horrible game, battle to the death. There's only one victor, and her younger sister, Prim, gets pulled out of the drawing of the names. Literally, that scene, like, I could cry right now. The classic line is, like, I volunteer as tribute. Katniss steps forward and decides to, you know, go in place for her little sister. And I had forgotten how good this book is, like, how good Suzanne Collins' writing is. Seriously, like, I could cry. Am I being dramatic? Maybe a little bit. I've been talking to Steph, and I will continue talking about Steph. If I say the name Steph, know that it's Stephanie Bookish. She has a YouTube channel as well. I'm gonna link her down below. She's one of my best friends, and I love her so much. Please do check her out. But if I say the name Steph, that's who I'm talking about, because we're both rereading this. We both have cried multiple times. I have already absolutely loved seeing where I know that Katniss even though, again, I don't even know where this story ultimately goes, but I do know the first book like the back of my hand, right? So I know Katniss's character development from now up until the end of this book at the very least, and I have it's so cool to see where she begins, because she's very much in a place where she thinks that like a singular voice does nothing, you can't really change anything because how awful things are and how controlled everything is from the capital. She feels like one person doing something like doesn't matter. Like there's nothing you can change about your situation, so why even talk about it? Why even think about it? And we all know like collective voices really do matter, and every single collective voice comes from like singular people. And it's just, I know that how she thinks at the beginning of this book, like I know I have been there, you know, like I take that wholeheartedly and I feel it. And knowing where she goes by the end of this book, and knowing where I am now, you know, in my mental space, it's just already very cool, because she will know that that is not the right way to think, and like I know that that's not the right way to think, you know. And another time that I was tearing up and crying Just the like world building and how Suzanne Collins is describing the living conditions in District 12 specifically, like it is absolutely brutal. It is so sad. That car drove past twice and I needed to pretend like I wasn't doing this for just that one time. I know for a fact that when I read this book for the first time, I knew that District 12 like had horrible living conditions, like everyone was struggling, like it was pretty desolate, and you know, I knew that, like I guess, but I actually didn't know how good the writing was in describing it, and how like real and just how vivid everything is actually described. It's just crazy to me that like this is something that I didn't really remember about this book, because it is something that I 100% am recognizing now and taking such note on, you know, like it's kind of in the forefront of like the class systems and how everyone is living in comparison to the capital. And, you know, when you're reading it when you're young, it's just, I didn't think about those things. It's like they are a concept, and yes, it makes sense, but you don't think about it. And I definitely didn't think about it. And now I'm thinking about it, and it makes me want to cry, you know? You know? So it's going well. I think that this was the best decision I have ever made, is to reread this book. I almost reread this series for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes when that book came out. I'm so glad that I didn't, because now I'm doing it. And wow, what is wrong with me? Why am I so emotional? I don't know. But yeah, I can't wait to continue. Unfortunately, I have to stop right now and do some editing. I'm gonna drink my dirty chai. I'm gonna edit a little bit more of this video. Sprints are in about 2 hours, and Caleb was actually on his way home. He finished his job early today, which is great news for all parties involved. So I will come back and update you probably sometime later tonight. This readathon that I'm hosting in my Patreon is a little mini version of a readathon that I did last June, and it is Game-a-thon, like G-A-Y, gay. Mathon, where all of us can join our love for gaming, cozy gaming, any type of gaming, and just like reading queer books, or at least supporting the queer community, because I don't know if the Hunger Games is gay. I don't remember. If it is, then that's great, because I abandoned my TBR for this weekend completely to binge this series. I did get the blessing of my patrons, you know, they're in support. All of the queer books that I was going to read for this weekend, I'm still going to read this month. Game-a-thon is one that I will do a month-long readathon in June for Pride Month. We're just doing a mini little weekend version this weekend. So it's gonna be really cute. Just a weekend of reading and hanging and gaming, and I just can't wait. It kicks off in a couple hours, so I will come back later and update you. Hopefully I can get a little bit more read. But yeah, it's going really well, obviously. Live, laugh, love, am I right?
They say love don't cost a thing. There's hearts for cards, but cash is king. Fancy cars and diamond rings. I won't get caught in all that greed. So come and take a walk in peace. There's all the free.
Hello, good afternoon. It is the next day. I stayed up way too late reading this book, but I did stop right before a very traumatic scene that I know is happening. You'll know it's chapter 18. There's a traumatic death. I won't say the name just in case you care and somehow haven't read this series yet, but I wanted to be able to sleep with a dry face, you know, so I stopped and went to bed. But I'm about to sit down and finish it. I have under 200 pages and it goes by so quickly. Like it's such a good time because I do have the audiobook, so I'm tandem reading, and it's really just like watching the movie again, because I think that the adaptation was a really good one. And being able to listen and read, like it's going by very quickly. I can like visibly picture every single thing that's going on. And I just truly am having a blast rereading this book right now. I'm very excited to continue. I think my only complaint right now, and it's very small, but I think that the book didn't do a perfect job of giving us like enough background and substance to care so much about PETA. I think maybe in the future books, I don't know, because I don't remember them and I maybe haven't even read them at all. I know I haven't read the third one. We've been through this. I don't even know if I finished the second one, but as of right now, if I hadn't watched the movie, I think that I wouldn't care too much about PETA. I'd be like, okay, but why should I care about him? I don't think that his character building is nearly as strong as Katniss, when he really is a key point in the story. So I think that that would be my only complaint if I were to choose one. But ultimately, Still loving the story, loving the writing. It definitely is holding up. Okay, hi, hello. Caleb is cleaning up his painting supplies. Avi is having a snack. There might be noise around us, but I finished. The Hunger Games, and I'm already 30 pages into Catching Fire. We're moving right along, but wrapping up this book right here. There are specific scenes that I am remembering that I'm wondering if what I'm remembering was just from the movie, and I'm wondering a lot. I'm wondering how different the movie and book actually is. I do plan on watching all of them after all of this. I don't know if I'll include that in the video. Probably not, but just for me, I would be excited to watch after I read it. But wow, so last time that I updated you, we were still very much in the thick of the games. Avi's now taking a drink of water. Are you all done? You're a good girl. Hydration is important. Following Katniss throughout the entire games is really just such a roller coaster of emotions for the reader, but also for her, because she knows that she might have to kill any of the other competitors that she comes across. But at the same time, she does find herself caring for some of them and admiring their tactics. But alongside that sort of like care and admiration, there is also a fair level of hate, especially for the competitor that killed her ally. But it ultimately grows to her recognizing that it's really not hate for that competitor, it's the hate for the Capitol, and for the Capitol putting them all in this horrible situation of them just being in an arena fighting to the death for their entertainment, which is completely messed up in and of itself. And the Capitol sees this as an honor to be chosen, which is really couldn't be further from the truth. It's just a power play, it is control. And I do kind of think that everyone knows, you know, how this book ends. I still won't say it overtly, but to talk about it like vaguely, the final act of defiance in this book really is just an incredible part of the story. I really think that Suzanne wrote this plot perfectly, because even like the double backing on the, like, you know, the twists in the games and the rules being changed, like that is so accurate to how the Capitol, how government would treat a situation like this. We've seen it happen in real life multiple times, because even though we got mostly like what we wanted out of the story at the very end, our characters, Katniss mostly, still can't really express at all her true motives for coming up with like what actually happened in the end of the games. Instead, she has to hide behind a ruse that is so infuriating. I can never say that word, and it is so infuriating. It so makes me so mad. As a reader, it makes us all so mad, infuriated. It makes us infuriated because we know why they did what they did, and we know that it's a big middle finger to the Capitol, but they can't do that without jeopardizing each other, their families, everyone in their district. So there's the level of control again from the Capitol, and there is just no further notes. Like, this is 5 out of 5, truly like a brilliant story. Suzanne Collins is great. And that being said, I have already started Catching Fire. It picks up really close to where the Hunger Games ends. This is beginning with our characters getting ready to go on the tour of the other districts, I think, like as a like awful, like, we survived the game, sorry we killed all your loved ones and brought shame to your district in addition, you know. I couldn't imagine having to be toted around like a little trophy and being used as something. Caleb was he just is admiring his painting. You're so talented. No, I couldn't imagine being in the situation. But yeah, everything that we know about Peeta and Katniss in this book and how they were acting together, you know, their star-crossed lovers sort of fate in this book, in these games, is not how it is left. And we are following the beginning of the tours and learning what has happened in the last couple months in between these two books. And Katniss receives a early visitor in this book before chapter 3 from President Snow, and sort of like a, you better stay in line, or I could kill anyone that loves you, basically. And I hate it so much. And it makes me so angry, infuriated. Did I do it? Hell yeah. And I'm wondering how much I will remember from here on out. I do remember the beginning of this. I feel like I did finish this book, and I started Mockingjay, but I didn't continue. I don't remember exactly. I couldn't tell you what happened in this one, but I think I finished it. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. So far, it does feel familiar, but I will continue it, and we'll come back later. We're about to walk Avi for the evening, and then what are we doing for dinner? BLTs. Yes, we're gonna make some fancy BLTs. maybe some fries as a side, and then I'll probably play some games. But I will come back in the morning and let you know where we're at here.
Yes, I am. Spread your
That was
love
good.
for the people's greater needs. Take a walk in peace and hear what I'm saying now.
Hello friends, good morning. I guess good afternoon. It's 2:30. These face masks, I can't say it. These face masks that change color after like a couple hours really are my favorite thing in the entire world. It was top and bottom, by the way. I just had to take the bottom off to eat lunch because it's impossible to do so with it on your face. But like, look at it. Wow, what a time to be alive. I feel great. We got a cherry cola Celsius drink. They make soda flavors now. This is incredible. Would recommend. I love cherry soda, and it tastes like real cherry soda, except it has a bunch of energy in it. So like cherry cola on steroids, maybe. Perfect. I stayed up and got, I think I want to say like 80 pages or something into Catching Fire last night because I did play Call of Duty for a while. We also made fresh cookies. I didn't film anything. I'll show you the cookies later when we have them for dessert. But it is a lazy Sunday. I'm feeling nice and calm, nice and relaxed. We worked out yesterday and we're both pretty sore. So we're taking a rest day. I'm not necessarily changing, nor am I putting anything on my face other than that face mask and other skincare products. I'm gonna finish this book today because right now I'm over halfway. We are on chapter 16, page 271. Okay? I can't tell if I look like kind of cute or like ill. I feel like that's a little bit better. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, Catching Fire. I completely forgot the plot of this book. 100%. It's like I'm reading it for the first time. Even though, like, subconsciously, after I read it, it's like, oh, yeah. Sort of. Yeah, okay. like it feels vaguely familiar in, like, a dream sense. But it definitely feels like I'm reading it for the first time. In most cases. In the plot of this book, it is the 75th year. So that means that it is considered a quarter quill. And historically, at, like, the 50 and 25 year mark of the Hunger Games, they did something especially crazy, especially special for the Capitol members, really, because it means that it's hell for the tributes and people involved in playing out the Hunger Games. And this quarter quill, the 75th year, is a doozy. It's a doozy. There's a lot happening within the Capitol and in all of the districts, especially because of how the previous year Hunger Games, the ones that Katniss and Peeta were involved in the first time, especially because of how they acted and things that they did in those games and how it was handled. And now this book, obviously we're following our main characters during the quarter quill, but also Catching Fire is sort of signifying like the spark of a rebellion, because it's talked about in the first book just like the idea of a rebellion and how District 13 was snuffed out for, I think, for rebelling or for like trying to ignite a rebellion. Am I making that up? I don't know, maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. But like the name Catching Fire is signifying that, and a lot has happened so far. It feels like a lot has happened, but at the same time, we're not very far in the story for how far we are. That makes sense to me, but I hope that makes sense to you, because not a lot of plot has moved in terms of like location of our characters and what they've been doing, but we're figuring a lot of things out and starting to learn how our main characters are going to be building the future, I guess, you know? But one thing in particular that I wanted to mention that is mostly just for my own journal keeping purposes is that there's one scene in particular that I have like a weird visual memory of, and I thought it was going to be in the first Hunger Games book when Katniss is going up into the arena, and it involves her stylist Cinna, who is one of my favorite characters in the whole entire series. Like I literally love them with my whole life. But I'm quickly realizing that I think that the scene that I'm thinking of and that I'm viscerally remembering is actually gonna happen in this book. And I am like, on one hand, glad that I'm not losing my mind and I didn't like make it up. but I also am now scared and sad to continue because I thought maybe I was delusional. I thought maybe like I made it up, and no, I don't think I did. I'll come back and let you know. First half of this book definitely is much slower than I had remembered. I wouldn't say I'm bored, like I'm still having a good time, but now that the plot is starting to pick up, I definitely wanted to come update you before I finished the book because I have a feeling that I soon won't be able to put it down, and that's exciting. It's exciting and scary.
Obsessed with material things. It's time to throw away your selfish needs. Let's let your words agree with how your actions speak. I'm here to talk, not trying to preach. So come and take a walk and
hello, good morning. I did finish Catching Fire last night, and I'm already 100 pages into Mockingjay, but we'll get to that. I'm flying through this series. I don't remember the last time that I binged a series like this, but also in the same vein, binged a series this quickly and with this level of attention. Like, I know 2 of these 3 are like technically a reread, so maybe I don't have to use as much attention as like I would for a brand new series, but I don't really think that that matters here. Like, sometimes if you're rereading a book, like for me personally at least, like if I already know what's going to happen, sometimes it's hard for me to care and want to sit through all of the pages because I'm not going to be surprised, you know? That's not happening with this series, and the progression from book 1 to book 2 to now book 3, it is such a logical and like great storyline that like it's no wonder that this series is going to be, if not it's already considered like a classic, you know? In Catching Fire specifically, I know I updated you about halfway through. We had not yet gone into the games, and wow, the moment that we started in the 75th Hunger Games in this quarter quell, I remembered everything because this year of the Hunger Games was so iconic. Like, I forgot about all the characters like Mags, Finnick, Beatty, Wyrus, Joanna, like all of these people that are in this book. Like, I am now remembering Sammy is on one. He's right here, clawing. Oh no, Juno was clawing. Sammy is watching her claw. But all of these characters and the arena that they're competing in, man, it's literally so inventive. It's so exciting. And I definitely remembered why I loved this game even more than the first, because the first Hunger Games book was like the foundational one, you know, like you're learning the history, the rules, the gameplay, learning how it works inside the arena and outside the arena. And then, you know, book 1 ends with a bang. Book 2, the first half of the book is dealing with the repercussions of what happened in the end of the first book. And so the first half of Catching Fire, like I already said, was a little bit slow, but it was setting the stage for, you know, obviously for the second half of this book, but also very much so for Mockingjay, because people are sick of, you know, living like this. So that like the talk of rebellion is very much prominent. And there was, there's just so much that goes on, like small things in the first 2 books specifically that I forgot happened. And I was just as surprised this time around than when I read it for the first time when I was young and small. I also was talking to Caleb about this earlier, how I'm so surprised about the level of like intensity that are in these books. The fighting is like really brutal. The things that were in the arena in this book specifically, because the first book, like obviously it was like more about physical fighting and like very gory and descriptive and brutal. This one has obviously all of that same like physical violence, but it also, there's a lot of like mental breaking going on, like psychological things. And it's pretty dark. Like, I mean, obviously the whole series is dark. Like, obviously it is a story about like government control, corruption, and like existentially the whole series is dark. But like literally Suzanne Collins is not holding back. And I was surprised reading it this time around that like it's not something that I remember from reading it when I was a kid. I don't remember taking note of like all the violence, and like I knew it happened, but like it didn't faze me, or I didn't like actually think about it, I guess. I don't know, but I'm like noticing and thinking about it now, and I am just surprised because it's like it's a pretty dark book. But that being said, I finished this yesterday, left off on another absolute banger cliffhanger, and now Mockingjay. I'm 100 pages in. 102 to be specific. And I feel like I've been doing a really good job at like not talking about specific names and you know, not spoiling anything. I hope you're having a great time. If you haven't read it and you didn't want to be spoiled, I hope you're still here because I feel like I've been pretty cautious. Mockingjay is obviously the continuation of the series, picks up like immediately right where it left off in Catching Fire. And so far from what I'm gathering, because remember, I don't know how this story ends. I don't. I think I just got to the point where like I don't remember anything now. And in this book, we are in a new district. The rebellion is alive and well. There are new weapons, there are new like alliances, and plans are in motion. That's where we're at. About 100 pages in. I think it's safe to say that we know that Katniss is still alive, right? Like she's the main character. She has continued to survive, all right? So Katniss is the Mockingjay now in this book. She is the face of this rebellion, and she has demands in order to agree to be the face of the rebellion. And her list of demands include a bunch of things that not everyone is happy about. But yeah, I'm having a great time still, you know? I love this, and I'm so excited to go finish it and come update you. I'm not sure if I will come back again before I'm finished. Oh, this has a bookmark in it from the seller that I bought this book from. It's Dr. Seuss. No, thank you. But yeah, whenever I feel like I want to update you, I'll come back and update you. It's Monday. I think the new book comes out tomorrow, okay? So obviously I won't be reading it on release day because I think I'm going to go and do a Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes first. I'm going to read it in publication order. I don't know if that's right. That's just what I've decided in collaboration with my own counsel up here. But I will be reading all of them, and that's really exciting. Okay, I'm gonna go finish. I'll be back.
Words agree with how your actions speak. I'm here to talk, not trying to preach. So come and take a walk in peace. There's all the freedom you need. And go spread your love for the people's greater needs.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I feel like a shell of a human. I feel different than I did a couple days ago. What do you mean, Suzanne Collins? I haven't cried at a book in a really long time. Like I've teared up, but like I cried. I cried during Mockingjay. Okay, I have some thoughts. Heckin' woof, guys. This was a doozy. This whole series is a doozy. Like, I know that this series, like, this isn't, like, happy considering the subject matter, you know, but I don't remember it being this so terribly dark and sad. All of you watching are probably like, yeah, fucking duh, Sydney, like, what do you mean? Of course. And, like, I just wish that I could go back to who I was and living in delusion. That would be great. Can we go back? Can we rewind? There were two specific scenes, and the very first bombing and then the very final Buttercup scene really hurt. They really hurt. Particularly the very first one. But like the final one, obviously, yeah, that was really sad too, and I did cry. But like, I really cried. Because like, yeah, like we still see that shit happening today, you know? Like, you want to tell me that reading isn't political? You are full of shit, quite frankly. I feel like saying the scenes in that way, it is vague enough to not give spoilers, but also like if you've read the series, you've read Mockingjay, then you'll probably know what scenes I'm referencing to without, there's something in my eye. Is it tears? I don't know. But by referencing those like specific little items in those scenes, I feel like if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah. Super sad. I will say, if I had to complain about Mockingjay specifically, and I love to complain, so I'll do it really quick. So there's a situation with the rebel faction that they are able to make these videos and put them out to all the districts and hopefully the capital as well. And, you know, in order to put videos out there, they have to like film. I don't know if propaganda is the right word. There's a specific word that they use in the book, and unfortunately I just found the first scene immediately that made me cry. So, oh, propo, which like propaganda. So I think that I was right in saying that. But the rebel faction is filming these like propo films to disseminate into the districts and hopefully the capital, like I said, for like anti-capital sentiment and to hopefully get more people on the rebel side to bolster the numbers. And there's a group of people that are filming said propos. They're referenced to as the Star Squad. And those situations, like, I do get that it's supposed to be sort of like a cute little comedic break, but it didn't really work for me. That's the only complaint I have, to be honest. So it's a very small one. I didn't really love those scenes. I think it took me out. I think that it was kind of written and described a little bit odd in comparison to the rest of the book. But all in all, like, even though it hurt a lot, I am really happy that I read the series and finally know how it ended, but at what cost? Truly, at what cost? Because, oh my god, I just don't think that I'll be able to like emotionally separate myself for a while. This was so sad. I want to do a couple spoilery thoughts. Okay, ready? If you want some tea, stick around. If you don't want to be spoiled, then go to this time. Okay, this is the time that you should skip to in order to avoid spoilers for this first trilogy, okay? Respectfully, fuck Gale. Like, up until Mockingjay, I think I was like on Team Gale, honestly. Like, I felt bad for him, you know, he kind of got the short end of the stick, but honestly, he didn't try at all. Like, I think growing up, like, I liked Peeta because, you know, they've been through a lot together, but like in my heart of hearts, I was like, yeah, but Gale's her like childhood sweetheart and like he's so sweet and handsome and at home and taking care of her family and like all of those things. No, I don't care. I don't care. He didn't try at all for Katniss, like in the big things. Like, I know like taking care of her family is a big thing, but like for her and her recovery, he did not shit. So I love that he ended up in District 2. Good riddance. I do love that the final like bit ended with her and Peeta sort of like getting better and, you know, confessing their official like love and care for each other, because I was like, yeah, hell yeah, Team Peeta. So many very specific scenes throughout this series really messed me up. We don't have time to go through them all, but like with the mutations, those were all super dark. Like, especially even in the very first book when they made like the mutations have the eyes of the fallen tributes. Oh my god. And how the final guy, was it Clove or not Clove? I don't know, some big brusky guy, I don't know anymore. But he was getting like torn apart for hours by these creatures, and Katniss finally, you know, like put him out of his misery. That's so dark. I can't even believe that that's in here. Catching Fire. Like I said, the first half was sort of a slug, but the second half, specifically the clock arena, absolutely iconic. I love it so much. Oh, Peeta, the whole pregnancy thing pissed me off, honestly. I hated that. That was such a dumb plot twist. It was not needed, in my opinion. It didn't need to be there. Yeah, the Jabberjays and like the screams of their loved ones, man, that was dark. Yeah, the games in the second book were my favorite. And then other things with Mockingjay, I mean, man, very action-packed, very much focused on the rebellion and the politics surrounding it and how morally gray everyone sort of is, because there were so many situations where we weren't sure who we could trust in terms of Katniss versus Gale and obviously Coin. Like, she got killed at the very end. Katniss was supposed to be executing President Snow, and the final conversation that she had with President Snow, which was like not even a conversation that was meant to happen, it just happened, you know, that put a little like doubt in her of who actually killed her sister. Like, wow, Prim. Yeah, so sad. Like, honestly, I want to know the truth, but I don't know if we will know the truth. And, you know, we can go back into not spoilers, so I'll let the other people come back in. Okay, ready? All of this being said, I think that Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes will be really interesting, considering it's a villain story. It's President Snow's story. And I'm imagining that it's going to put him in a light that will sort of, you know, make us sympathize with him. But after reading everything he's done, especially to the main characters in Mockingjay, literally, how could I feel bad for him at all? Literally, what do you mean? Even with the final plot twists in this book, which, you know, take them with what you will, like, those were crazy. Those plot twists I thought were very crazy. And it's also very crazy that we still don't know entirely what is true and what is false. After everything, you know, we still don't know. We can assume, but I do think that the real answers are up for debate on like who is a bad guy. And I mean, like, we know who's a bad guy, but we don't know specific answers of who did what and what the whole truth is. which is frustrating, but I'm also like not super mad about, because I don't always need a perfect bow at the end of a book. I would prefer a perfect bow at the end of a series, but I also like, for whatever reason, I'm not like mad about it. Maybe I am a little bit. Okay, but now that I've marathoned these books in 4 days, good work, Sydney, we are going to go into the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I'm excited to see Suzanne Collins' writing and see how it has changed over the course of the years, because I really liked her writing in The Hunger Games. But the first book in The Hunger Games came out in 2008, so this is much more recent, so I'm excited to see how her writing has changed. And surprisingly, there's a lot of people that love this book, that say this is their like favorite of the series so far, which I think is a very wild take, but maybe I'll share the sentiment. I don't know. I'm excited to finally get into it. I was never sure if I was gonna read it, because I was like, why do I care about President Snow? You know, that's kind of how I feel. But I don't know, I kind of care a little bit, especially knowing how Mockingjay ends now. I don't know, guys. We're gonna read it, and it's 7 p.m. so I need to go eat dinner, but I will probably read a little bit before I go to bed. We'll come back tomorrow and I'll let you know. I'm actually leaving the house tomorrow, which is crazy, just to give people, you know, proof of life. Now, since I've been in a cave reading The Hunger Games. But okay, I'll see you soon. I just got done filming literally like 2 seconds ago a unhaul video, and it was very successful. I'm tired. I wanted to quickly update you because I've been busy all day. You saw I left the house, which is, you know, good for me. I have read 8% of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And this video was actually originally going to be this Sunday's video, but I have decided that I didn't want to just try to rush through these final 2 books in the vlog just for the sake of getting a video out. I would much rather take my time and enjoy them, so that's why I filmed this unhaul today. Otherwise, I would be a lot further in this book for sure, but I do think that that's the right decision for me because I am immediately intrigued by this setup. I don't think that I knew what I was going to be getting into. So this is President Snow as a kid. It's his like whole, I'm guessing, life story. It starts as him as a kid and he's trying to get into the academy, and his family has kind of fallen from grace, so they don't really have the money to get into the academy, but he's trying to get a like basically a scholarship. And right now it is reaping season, which is when all the districts are having their, what's the word? Tributes being announced. And right now all the kids that are up for like the scholarship for the academy are given one of the tributes from each district. And we learn that Cornelius Snow gets the girl from District 12, which is like a big slap in the face apparently. But this tribute from District 12 is a little Spitfire. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Immediately liking Suzanne Collins' writing still, which is really nice, really solid, you know? But I'm really excited to continue, and I think that I will continue to read it later tonight after we eat dinner before bed. I do work the next 2 days though, which really sucks. So I won't see you for a couple days, but I will try to read as much as I can. So update to come, I'll be back. I also just realized that I never took off my little microphone from my unhaul. Cute. Wow. Wow. Hi, hello. It's been like maybe 4 days or so. This past weekend was the Indianapolis like indie bookstore crawl. And so I was just book crawling, you know, going to, I think I got to 7 different bookstores in 2 days, 8 if we want to include Friday night, which was the like book influencer party that myself and Nathan helped co-host. Nathan's from Schizophrenic Reads if you don't know him, which I think you do. But I didn't vlog like at all this weekend in terms of like talking to the camera. I also didn't read much this weekend in terms of Hunger Games. So let's check in. Let's check in though, because I did finish Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, finally. I'm really glad it's over. I felt myself going into a slump on that book. Yes, I did. Yes, I sure did. I think that I was expecting something a little different. I thought we would be following Cornelius Snow like throughout a little bit more of his life, not just this one period when he was a mentor in the Hunger Games. And I guess that makes sense, but like I thought we were gonna get like his villain origin story, and like I guess we did. I thought it was gonna be so much more dramatic because he sucks. Like I was expecting something big and massive and like monumental to happen to change his views entirely, and that like it didn't really happen. Like he is like who he is in his core. Like we get his internal monologue and it's just kind of who he is, but then a couple things, valid things, but not massive things, you know, like push him over the edge and like show his true colors even more. And it's like, I get it, but I don't, were we reading the same book? Like, I feel like I've heard some like okay things about the book, but also some like really glowing reviews. Like I've heard people say that this is their favorite book of the whole like series. Granted, that was said before Sunrise on the Reaping came out. I don't know if that is still like valid for those people. I did start this, we will get there. But I didn't like it that much. But as a concept, I did like it. Okay, so if we're talking about the concept of getting this type of viewpoint for something like the Hunger Games, I think that it is a good addition to the world. I don't think that it was bad. I think that it was nice to see the games from a different perspective and from a different point of view entirely. Not only from like a mentorship point of view, but also like going back in time to the 10th, I think it was the 10th Hunger Games ever, is when they like were struggling to get people to care about the Hunger Games. So they were trying to figure out how to make the people of Pan Am like really care and actually tune in and watch. And Cornelius Snow was a big moving factor in that and came with a bunch of ideas. And, you know, he was really being put up on a pedestal almost by his professors because like he had good ideas, but his family had also like fallen from grace, and Cornelius had a lot of motivating factors to like do well in the capital and do well in school. And I just like did not, I didn't care about being in his head, about seeing from his perspective. Honestly, I just like, I was bored because I didn't really care about what he was thinking or doing or going through. But also I felt like the story itself was boring from his point of view because, okay, so here's the thing. Watching the games from a perspective like Cornelius Snow, a young kid being one of the first mentors for these group of kids going into the Hunger Games, the action of the Hunger Games is not very exciting from this point of view because you're not living it, you're just watching it. You're like reading an accounting of what's happening. So there's no emotion, really. There's really not much emotion. So like anything that's dramatic going on, you don't necessarily like, I didn't feel it. I was just reading it, if that makes sense. And this made me feel almost like detached from the story and the characters. But now I will go into something positive because I do think that this book gave me like another perspective of the games itself and the kids of the districts that are being put into the games. This being the 10th anniversary of when these games started, which these games were started as an answer to the rebellion that happened within the districts against the capital. So then the capital put these Hunger Games into play as like reparations that they have to pay with their children to entertain the capital with a fight to the death. Like it's so morbid and awful. We know this, but it being this fresh, only the 10th time of this happening, it had a whole different energy. Like with the Hunger Games trilogy, it was almost, it's like a spectacle. You know, like there is like this like jubilant air about the games because it's like again just this massive spectacle of like wealth and privilege for, you know, for the capital obviously, and for the kids from the districts obviously. Like no matter what year it has been since the Hunger Games have been going on, it's a very like awful and horrible and like emotionally terrible thing. But reading this game specifically, the 10th anniversary, man, it was like nothing but darkness. It was really just like sad because these kids are obviously kids, but also at this point, like they weren't treated like royalty necessarily. Like minor spoiler, but it doesn't really spoil anything. It just gives you like a little bit of perspective of the difference, I guess. So if you want to skip ahead, go ahead, but like it's very minor. I promise it's not like a plot point, okay? okay, that like matters entirely. But like in the Hunger Games trilogy, you know, they treat them like royalty. They get anything they want. And in this 10th anniversary, they literally put them in the monkey exhibit in the zoo. Like any food that they get, they are given from like spectators through the bars. That's so fucked up. Like, and then seeing them in the arena, which the arena is obviously much different than it is in the trilogy. It's just absolutely like animalistic and like feral feeling almost. Like it's before all of the like high-tech inventions of the games, so it just feels very much, what's the word, like fundamental. Like they're given weapons, but they're just weapons like axes and not like, you know, really beautifully made bows and arrows. Like there's a stark difference between everything with the games in the comparison. And I think that is the thing that I liked about this book. It was truly like kind of mind-blowing seeing the difference. But that part of the book was kind of small. A lot of it was after the games and what happened to Cornelius after, you know, the games had concluded, and I didn't care. I was very bored. Though I understand, you know, I understand the book, I understand where it went, I just also didn't find it exciting. I didn't like it. So even though some of the things I really do appreciate about the book, I think I am settling with like a 2.5 or a 3, but I am happy that I read it, and I am even more so happy and excited to have already picked up Sunrise on the Reaping. My library holds for the ebook and the audiobook came in together the other day on Sunday, yesterday. What a time to be alive, am I right? Like what an opportune thing. So we started it, and according to my Kobo, I am 15% of the way in. I immediately know that I'm gonna like this a lot more. It feels like the original trilogy. It is Haymitch's story. So if you are familiar, Haymitch is the mentor for Katniss and Peeta in the trilogy of the Hunger Games. And in that trilogy, he is just, you know, an alcoholic, not present all the time, but like a very likable character. Because even though he's kind of a shithead, he does mean well, and he does really care about these kids. And I, like most people, I think, do have a soft spot for Haymitch, and I think that this will be a difficult one. I've seen some people already cry. I've already thought about it. I've thought about crying. So we'll see how it goes, but I immediately know that I'm gonna like this more than Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I'm really grateful for, because I was nervous that I wasn't gonna want to be in this world anymore after reading that one, because I was done. Snow may land on top, but for me, it definitely just melted away. I'm excited to be in Haymitch's world. It's already been very emotional and already had a plot twist of how he was chosen that I was not expecting, like at all. But okay, this clip is very long. It is 4 p.m., 4:20 p.m. I worked out, I showered, I'm about to do some laundry. Caleb and I are actually going to a show tonight, a little cute little Monday night show. We're gonna see Movements, Citizen, and someone else is opening for Movements. I don't know who it is, but Movements is headlining, and if I really like them, and I do vibe with Citizen as well, so I'm excited. It'll be a fun show. I've also been listening to First Time Caller by BK Borison like all day, because I want to like be able to sit down and pay attention like super close to this so that I can like explain my thoughts even better. And while I've been like up doing things, I've been listening to First Time Caller because I needed something a little bit more lighthearted, even though it is threatening tears on that front as well. So I have been reading, just not for this vlog very much today, which is fine, you know, it is what it is. But I am excited and looking forward to continuing Sunrise on the Reaping. I am hoping to finish it by tomorrow. So hopefully I have another update for you tomorrow morning before we get to, you know, final thoughts tomorrow afternoon. That is the hope. So I will see you tomorrow.
The ocean wind submerge my face. I bleed to bliss. I'm free from pain. On my left I find I hurt. I listen is inside each breath. Desires. No sunlight's off. I'm annoyed. I'm trying to focus. You fighting the void. Country quiet. The noise. I'm paid to record, not delivered by the money. I'm at vantage point. Message from the highest. Now it's coming up my mind. Let it rain down on my body. Watch it blossom in a moment.
Hello, good morning. I've been busy reading all morning. Let's see, I'm at 59, basically 60%. This book is so good. It's so much better than Songbirds and Snakes. This is like classic Hunger Games, like rebooted. Haymitch is the perfect character to be following, not only because like he has so much love garnered from all of us from the Hunger Games trilogy, but he's been such a mysterious character. Like we don't actually know everything that he went through and what made him the way that he is, which is deeply troubled. At about 60% in right now, I could have read this in one sitting for sure. It's very action-packed. And this Hunger Games is interesting because as opposed to all the previous Hunger Games, everyone is sort of like allied up before the games even begin, like the careers versus everyone else. And by writing it this way, we are really getting to know a lot of other characters a little bit deeper. And it is honestly so heartbreaking because like this is taking place before the trilogy, right? Like this is many, many years ago, and the things that they're talking about, like this like literally can't be a spoiler, all right? This like, because you know that this takes place before the original Hunger Games trilogy. So like they're talking about like within the dialogue of like, this has to be the last Hunger Games. Like we have to do whatever it takes, you know, to stop this from continuing to happen. And obviously it keeps happening. Like very obviously things just continue to get worse because as evidenced by the trilogy. And it is just so heartbreaking because like they're talking about it and they're making plans, and we know as the reader that like even if whatever they're planning works, we know that it's all for nothing. And it's so heartbreaking because they're trying so hard. And in this, is it 25? The first 50th Hunger Games? I think it's the 50th. Am I losing it? Whatever. It's one of the quarter quells, and this is the one where there are like twice as many tributes. So like there's just so many more deaths, and yeah, the arena is interesting. We're just starting to get a glimpse of it here, about 60% of the way in. So like really starting to learn what's going on and what our main characters, Haymitch and the others, are having to go through. And I just feel the emotions. I feel them simmering. And I wanted to tell you that it's going really well. I think that I will share many others in that I will be sobbing at some point in this book. I can feel it. I can definitely sense that coming. So yeah, I'm so happy with this book, and I'm so happy that I started doing this vlog. Like I don't even care if it doesn't do well, because I know like so many other creators are also doing Hunger Games vlogs. This has just been such a fun journey for me to reread a childhood favorite series that I never finished and continue it with like the most recent books. It's been such a joy. And I say that with tears in my eyes. So that being said, Caleb has finished his job early today, and he's stopping and getting me coffee. He called and he said, do you want anything from Calvin and Fletcher's? And I said, obviously. So he's coming home, bringing me a coffee, and I know for a fact I could finish this book today, but Caleb and I do have plans to do something in the basement with our little studio space. So there is a chance that we'll get kind of wrapped up in that, and I might not come back and update you for the final until like the day after tomorrow. I work all day tomorrow. I work like 14 hours tomorrow. I don't even want to talk about it. 15 hours maybe? Oh my God, literally I'm so over it. Quick, everyone make my channel go viral so I can stop working at the hospital so much. Quick, do it. I'm only half kidding. But that being said, I don't know what the rest of my day is gonna look like. I very well might still finish this book, but you might not see me. You might see tears, but you might not hear me speaking for a couple days. Who knows? I'll come back. I am anticipating pain. I'm sure you're probably wondering, did I finish Sunrise on the Reaping, or did Sunrise on the Reaping finish me? Still up for discussion. This book was beautiful. Absolutely tragic. The thing is that we like kind of knew where it was going, where it ended at least, right? Because in the trilogy, Haymitch has nobody, but in this book, he has a lot of people. And so one might wonder how he gets to where he is in the trilogy. And this is that story. And wow, that last 15% was hard. It was hard to read. Oh my God. I'm thinking about the gumdrops. And I thought I was gonna be okay. I thought, guys, it's been like almost a week since I finished this book. I thought it would be okay for me to come on and film this final update. But I'm not fine. Will I ever be? Truly, like, I think I just disassociated for like a full 3 minutes, yeah. I'm furthering my hatred for Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I no longer like it at all. Because I could give less of a shit about Cornelius Snow. Let me just say that. Wow. Why did we even try to humanize him in any way, shape, or form? Why did we try? If you really liked Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I genuinely, like, let me know why. Other than, you know, like I said before, like seeing how different the games themselves were and like the overall like energy and atmosphere, that is the only thing that I appreciated about that book. Like, granted, okay, listen, he's an unlikable character and like Suzanne wrote him that way. And like, this is my anger at him as a character. I'm just mad. I'm just upset with this fictional man. I'm upset with this fictional man. Oh, I feel like depressed. I feel distraught over Sunrise on the Reaping. There were so many like parallels and similarities to Haymitch's game and Katniss's games as well. Like deaths of other tributes that they went through, but also just like emotions and themes that went on within their separate games. Learning why Haymitch calls her sweetheart. Yeah, so sad. Everything Haymitch did to try to like stand up to Snow in the games, amazing. Especially during like the initial carriage ride in this book. Like I knew it was over from that point on, you know, like there was no way that what happened during the initial carriage ride when they're announcing all the tributes and introducing them to Pan Am, there was no way that Snow wasn't going to do something absolutely diabolical. Like he wasn't already going to, but like holy shit. Yeah, that last 15% was pretty rough. The whole book was rough. Who am I kidding? But again, let me just circle back because there's so many emotions tied up in this book. Literary wise, like the book was written beautifully. It was like I said before, Hunger Games rebooted. If you loved the trilogy, you will love Sunrise on the Reaping. I think this one might be my favorite. I think that Catching Fire is a close second, then the original Hunger Games, but Mockingjay, man, Mockingjay hit me the hardest. Like emotionally, I cried most reading Mockingjay. I don't give a shit about Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. For ratings, I guess I'll just say like Hunger Games, 5 stars. Catching Fire, I want to say 5 stars, but maybe I'll say like 4.5. I don't know. The beginning of Catching Fire really is really slow, but like the games in Catching Fire truly make up for it. Those are the most iconic games of everything, personally. That arena in Catching Fire is my favorite thing. So 5 stars. Mockingjay, 5 stars. Fuck it, I don't care. 5 stars all around. Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I stand by my 2.5. Sunrise on the Reaping, 5 stars. No notes. Doing this reading vlog was the best decision I've made in a very long time. If you are still here at the very end, thank you so much for caring and being on this journey with me. If you are still here and watching, leave me the bow and arrow down below in the comments and or let me know what your favorite book of the series was. Man, I'm sad that this is over. But while you're down there, please do subscribe and like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another. Happy reading and may the odds be ever in your favor. See you next time. Bye.